secret room in the hippie Hobbit house, to 3 drivers, known as the Brooklyn Boys, who moved it from Marin County to New York City. That was the first mistake.
Just some young, stupid kids from Brooklyn.
Yeah, young, stupid kids from Brooklyn who...
Vegetarians.
Who liked getting high and were real psychedelicized vegetarian kids.
Okay, it's fine that they're vegetarians, but what we're getting at is that these were young, inexperienced kids who didn't take extra precautions when hauling loads of pot across the country. Like, when my dad was more established, he would never get high while working. That was reserved for after if the trip was successful. Well, these kids, they wanted to have fun on the job. The next mistake was the flashy, spankin' new vehicle my dad provided for transporting the loads across the country.
That was really a stupidity of errors, because the truck I bought to do this, we decided we got the fanciest big 4-wheel GMC pickup. It was like right off the lot, remember? Oh. That white and yellow, orange, what was it, white and gold? I remember it very clearly. The way I looked at things, you wanted to have the best of everything, but that was really part of the stupid thing, because we had
the best of drivers.
Right. We had kids who looked like hippies smoking pot all through it, and the whole fucking bed was filled. We built a bed, and we put in 350 pounds under this bed that we had built in the back of the truck, in the pickup bed. It shouldn't have been a new truck. It was too flashy a truck for these scrunky-looking 24-year-olds. I shouldn't have done that, and I shouldn't have given them my profit. I should have just taken my profit, kept it safe, and sold it off as I would sell it.
Now, the third mistake, and the most critical, was that my dad fronted all of his profits in this last truckload. Basically, the Brooklyn Boys had already transported several loads of pot from Marin to New York City. But all of my dad's profits from this trip were dependent on that last truckload.
I let these guys talk me into fronting all of my profits in their last truck, which was about as dumb as dirt. Instead of just taking our winnings and packing up and going in. And
greed.
Greed is good.
Face of greed.
Greed is right. I
wanted power more.
I wanted more. It wasn't enough that we made like $50,000 in 2 months.
My dad thought that fronting his money would increase his profits. But in fact, good old-fashioned greed reared its ugly head and bit my dad in the ass. Because that dark, stormy night that the Brooklyn Boys set off with this last pot load, they get busted. But before my dad hears anything about this, my very pregnant mom goes into labor. And all the focus goes from the trip to having a baby.
And then off goes the truck, and she goes into labor.
And she lost his mind, and I lost my mind.
I was born at home, and my dad, always a camera enthusiast, videotaped the event with a brand new camera. One of the first of its kind for home video. Oh, we got the tape digitized. My poor mother. My mom is surrounded by my dad, the midwife, some family friends, my 5-year-old sister Vertica, the cats, our family dog.
Yes, so paint us the picture. What, Mom's upstairs?
No. There are several levels.
No, we're down in the middle section in a waterbed.
A waterbed?
Yes.
We're in the corner by the fireplace.
At 2:30, after this incredibly intense storm for 24 hours or more.
Wow.
The storm breaks, and boom, out you pop.
It's a girl. She's a beautiful little girl.
So it swallowed you up, and then the doctor came.
And so we gave an instant replay, because we'd videotaped the whole thing. Well, so we're the first of instant replay in a home birth. Then I get the news. So we've been up for forever, for 2 days or whatever it is.
How long labors are there?
Wasted. And
28 hours,
then
27 hours.
Next morning, one of the guys comes by and says, "Oh, the truck got busted in Indiana."
So apparently the Brooklyn Boys got pulled over in Indiana. And being young, stoned, and in a fancy new truck with California plates, the cops suspected something was amiss. So busted, the Brooklyn boys call my dad with the bad news the next day, which is also the first morning I spent outside the womb on planet Earth. So my dad leaves town and heads to New York City to try and get some of his money back from the Brooklyn boys. My dad finds the Brooklyn boys peeps, and he gets a little bit of money back, $2,000. But to this day, he regrets not being ballsy enough to demand the entire amount, $36,000, which is roughly $195,000 in today's money. My dad returns to California with a fraction of the money he's lost. And then he, my mom, my sister, and me, just a few days old, moved to another house in West Marin.
And then we, after doing that, we split from that house because we were concerned.
Oh, because we thought that's when the battalion chief came to be my bodyguard, because we thought they would send people after us, so we had to leave.
And moved
abruptly.
out.
My parents are scared that someone might come for them. Someone from the Brooklyn Boys Network who might want revenge or retaliation in some form or another. Now, luckily, that never happened, but the trip definitely had gone wrong, and my parents' money was gone. Tensions were running high, and my fledgling smuggler parents were scared. My parents have 2 daughters. They need to protect themselves from arrest, from losing their kids, and the seedier parts of the industry. So after moving, my parents put their heads down and try to leave the smuggling business. Try being the key word. I'm Rainbow Valentine, and you're listening to Disorganized Crime. We'll be right back. One thing that blows me away with my parents is that they always see the glass as half full. Their work was critically dangerous. But when my parents were telling me my birth story, after he found out they lost all their money, my dad went into the backyard to think.
I'm wandering in the garden, and I'm looking at our fruit trees, and I'm just philosophical because I remember the same thoughts, and it was like, well, I guess it's a pruning, because that's how I always looked at it. And I mean, that's the only way I could look at it.
Yeah, the cup is always half full to you guys, which I love. Me too.
But that's us. That's who we are,
Like my dad's trip smuggling pot across the country, I've been on a long, strange trip myself. Thank you, Robert Hunter, for that iconic sentence. Unraveling a web of secrets. This long, strange journey is a first-hand look at the extraordinary, unique, disorganized drug smuggling industry in Marin County, California, which, while today is home to tech billionaires, was once home to the rock stars and drug smugglers of San Francisco's 1960s counterculture. They risked their lives to smuggle pot in the most dangerous time for pot in history. I was born in a unique location and situation, right in the middle of the battle between the counterculture psychedelic smugglers and the war on drugs, which would ultimately end my dad's smuggling career forever. Dad made and lost millions of dollars, more than once. And I, Rainbow Valentine, a tax-paying, regularish job-having, non-pot smoker but total hippie at heart, was there, obliviously in the middle of it all. I wanted to find out what in the world was going on at home while I was playing Smurfs under the olive tree. Listener, you and I are both going back in time to find out, how did my dad smuggle thousands of pounds of pot across the country for over 22 years? Some people I will talk to spent years in prison. Some lost all their money. Some lost their minds. A few flew under the radar. But for all of them, this podcast is the first time they have told their stories aloud to anyone, ever. So now, it is time for the smugglers to speak. And we get to listen. I'm Rainbow Valentine, and this is Disorganized Crime. Disorganized Crime, Smuggler's Daughter, is written and recorded by me, Rainbow Valentine. Our producers are Gabby Watts and Taylor Church. Executive producers are Brandon Barr, Brian Lavin, Elsie Crowley, and me at School of Humans, and Connell Byrne and Charles Bryant at iHeartRadio. Our music is by Gabby Lala and Claire Campbell, with original theme by Mark Caron and me. You can find us online at iheart.com/podcasts.
Writing our own story, doing as we please. Tamalpais, sleeping princess of the redwood trees. She helps us keep it real. A handshake seals the deal. Grab the stash, seal the meal, and load up these old wheels. Rolling a doobie, young, rich, and groovy. Make it